Welcome to day 77 of the New Way. I'll read Matthew 5:23 and 24. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. We are still discussing Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, where he is describing how different his kingdom will be from the world's kingdoms. Jesus says if you are getting ready to spend time alone with God, and you remember that someone has something against you, go get it settled before you pray. So, if someone has something against you, who messed up? Yeah, you. If you are coming before God to spend time in prayer and worship, and you remember something that you did that hurt or might have hurt someone else, what should you do? Don't attempt to worship God when you are guilty of hurting one of his creatures. Get it straightened out first, and then come back to worship. I'll read Matthew 5:25 through 26. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. Jesus tells us to settle matters out of court. Take responsibility for what you did wrong, and take care of the damage. If you break something that belongs to someone else, you shouldn't wait until they take you to court or to parents to offer to pay for or repair the damages. Don't cheat people out of what is rightfully and legally theirs. Jesus says that his new way will be different from God's old laws, those found in the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of our Old Testament. Here's another example. I'll read Matthew 5:27 through 30. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. God's law says don't commit adultery. How did Jesus say his way would be different? This applies to both men and women. He's talking about what I call mental adultery. While this scripture uses men as the example because they are the usual culprits, today it is seen almost equally in men's and women's behavior. It's okay to appreciate the manliness or feminine qualities that you see in others, but it's not okay to imagine sexual acts with them. That's mental adultery, or sometimes called lust. Why does Jesus speak so sternly about it and say that it will lead to hell? I'll read 2 Corinthians 10:5. Paul writes here, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Paul says we must keep our thought life under control. What does he say we should do with thoughts that are against God? Paul uses the word demolish or take captive. These are war words. We are at war with things that hurt our relationship with God. Jesus speaks sternly about it because sexual sins are addictive and they grow. It is not to be taken lightly. I believe that some people are so hooked on adultery in all its forms that when they hear of Jesus' good news, they don't want it because they would have to give up their pleasures. In other words, it quickly becomes an idol that they worship. It becomes their God. Satan will tempt you to daydream about sexual things in order to trap you. Send him packing by changing your environment, quoting scripture, singing praise songs, getting some exercise, whatever it takes to stop your mind from dwelling on the wrong things. Don't misread this to mean that God disapproves of the sexual relationship between a married couple. He created sex, and he knows how to make it incredibly good. These verses are talking about any sexual activity outside of marriage. Take every thought captive. Jesus wants what is best for you. I promise he knows what is best. He is your creator and designer. In his service, Dale.